So what if the Algebraians were on TPOT teams? Well, I'll only be doing the major Algebraians because, like, who cares about you, Euler's constant? Anyways, Algebraians are season hosts or that appear in shorts like X finds his value or any of the subscriber count specials will be counted in this video. But first, before I continue the video, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me a lot, and Grassy gets to live for another day. Okay? Anyway, starting with the host with the most, we got two. Considering his close friendship with Gady, this choice would be obvious. He would be a part of the Team 8. Although, don't expect him to do well at any challenge, as he would be too busy yapping about math to Gady. Just think of 2 and Gady as a comic relief duo that share a fan base and split voters between each other. Next up is 1. Before TPOT 20, I would have said just not, since 1 seemed to be so chaotic that Pillow would be a perfect match for her, but now knowing her traumatic past, I would have to say the S, since she struggles to fit in. She would almost be a perfect fit on the oddball team. I mean, being around Yellowface and Rocky, she wouldn't seem so bad, and having a genuinely nice character like Winner would help her stay grounded, since as a contestant, she wouldn't be forced to hide. Also, most of her team members wouldn't have any idea about her past surrounding 3, which would possibly lead into a future arc in this scenario where she admits to her past to Winner and is given a reality check. Crazy how all she really needed was a friend to not go completely insane and become the main villain. Now for 4 and X, they're both together because they are a package deal basically. I think they'd be gobbled up by Are You Okay because, according to Golfball's calculations, it would be advantageous to befriend the former host of a season who's shown immense strength. Although little does the bozo brain bossy bot actually know, anytime she actually tries to use his force strength, this happens. Also, if I had to guess, there would likely be a mini storyline between 4 and X about forced treatment of X during pre-split BFB, along with X constantly having to keep 4 from going out of control. Now, getting all the major Algebraians out of the way, now I'll go from the highest to the lowest integers by order, starting with 15. Unlike most of the other Algebraians, she is pretty antisocial, being completely isolated and living far off from the equation playground, and having non-solicitation signs on her property. She would be on Team Teardrop, as not only is Teardrop mute, she's by far the smallest team, being just a team of herself. As for their dynamic, I believe 15 would be so antisocial that she would literally just try to throw challenges to eliminate herself, which would greatly annoy Teardrop as she's super competitive and a challenge beast. So it would just be a constant dynamic of Teardrop having to prevent 15 from sabotaging in the challenges. Next up is 14. He's easily a just nodder. He's literally just Pillow but in numerical form. He's a complete menace, having to be jailed and constantly trying to kill and eat other Algebraians. Honestly, just imagining the devious things Pillow and 14 would get up to is crazy. Like, 1 pillow is bad enough, but now we have 2 pillows. On the opposite side of the coin, we have 10, who's basically the polar opposite of 14, being incredibly nice and passionate. He would easily fit on Team 8, as similar to Loser, he's almost worshipped. Like, they literally had a competition to meet 10. So I could easily see the Team 8s rallying around 10 in a similar way they did to Loser. Honestly, he'd probably be on good terms with all the Team 8ers, even Pin. Next is 7 and 9. I decided to bunch them up together because they're quite similar in many ways. They are both fun-loving numbers that want to be cool. I think both of them would join up with the S after Yellowface announces that his team will be so much fun that they are tempted and decide to join. The obvious conflict here being that 1 is also on the team, but with characters like Winner, I think he'd be able to mediate any conflicts between them. And 7 and 9 would likely just stick around and hang out with Yellowface and Cloudy. As for 8, he'd be picked by Snowball to join the strongest team on Earth. Snowball would be scoping out the strongest characters he can get, so why not pick a season winner, especially one who beat out other Algebraians. Although 8 is a rather laid-back competitor, which would heavily disappoint Snowball, but you'd still be warmly welcomed by other characters like Basketball and Eggy, who already dislike Snowball, and they would likely like 8 for being so laid-back. I think Snowball would also go for 6, since 6 is shown to be one of the more aggressive Algebraians, so he would happily take her onto his team. I think Snowball would also try to befriend her, but again be disappointed that she doesn't go as far as he does, and she isn't egotistical like he is. Which leaves 5 on Death Pact again, as 5 is shown to be a stickler for the rules and he often hates on zanier personalities like 4, making him a perfect candidate for Death Pact again. In addition, he's by far the least physically aggressive Algebraian, so he'd easily fit in. Although I see him being an early boot considering that he's often seen as whiny. Now going on to the final major Algebraian, we have 3. Now before her corruption, I would have said Death Pact again, as she is close friends with 5 and just generally loves helping other people out, which fits in line with Death Pact. However, after the corruption, she would likely just want to be left alone and be on Teardrop's team as well. I don't think she'd be physically able of helping in challenges, so her and 15 would basically just be cannon fodder for Teardrop. Also joining on Team Teardrop is Zero, but for completely different reasons. As we see in the subscriber specials, that Zero is completely in love with 15, so he'd literally try anything to be around her, as well as be on her team. He would constantly try and fail to encourage her to stay in the game so he could be around her. Think of Cody and Gwen from Total Drama. It would just be a dynamic of that. And for the TPOT 15 Algebraians, we got the iconic 27th and 28 alphabet letters, Ian and Frumt. They honestly have very little personality, so it'd be hard to put them on a team, but I'll put them on Team S, since technically one created them by destroying the timeline. And if you really want to get into it, there's also Pi, who would be on the strongest team on Earth, since he's aggressive much like Snowball. Although his aggression would be directed towards Pi for stealing his glory, so he'd just be completely focused on sabotaging Death Pact again. Honestly, I would have loved to include the other Algebralians, but there's like literally nothing to them due to lack of screen time. So that's it, that's the video. But wait, isn't there someone I'm forgetting? Oh right, 2763. They are such an overpowering force, their mere presence drains strength from others. Their entire existence breaks the whole confines of the game, so they'd be on a team of their own. And there's nothing to be done to stop them. They are truly omnipresent. But what do you think? Am I cooking here, or are you just wondering if I had a lobotomy surgery? Well, feel free to express your thoughts down below, and feel free to explain where you'd place them personally. Anyways, that's about it. See ya.